Hello, PNW Blanks and Sublimation members. This is Dawn. I just wanted to jump on and talk about the tumbler press. So this is what I have happily named the Hulk, my green deluxe tumbler press, and just talk about a couple different things that I'm hoping will help you. We've had a lot of people posting the great successes they're having with the tumbler press, and their tumblers look beautiful. Then we have some people that are posting that they're having a harder time. So with anything, it's a learning curve. It takes time to learn. Some get it before others. That's with anything. And so I just wanted to kind of go over a couple different things with you. So the first thing that's super, super important is that you are calibrating your press and making sure that it's calibrated every time you turn it on. If you unplug it, when you turn it off, turn it on. Change out your attachment if you're changing out your attachment. Just to always make sure that your temperature is calibrated correctly. And then you're going to have to find the temperature that works best for your environment. So I use 370, 375 for 40 seconds. It works great for me. I do have the fan on in my office, so my tumblers do get they've got a little chill tune, so I know that my temperature is going to drop because they are a little colder. So, you know, it's not a one-size-fits-all. Environment, you know, does play a factor in it. Then there's three things I want to talk about real quick. And one is, that is your tumbler blanks. Are you getting good tumbler blanks? Are they good sublimation tumbler blanks? And I'm not downing any other group. I'm not downing anyone else. I get my blanks from Anna and Elena. I know that they test the batches they get in. I know they wouldn't sell me anything that they wouldn't use themselves, and they've proven that. Anna bought a ton of kid water bottles. She was super excited about them. Turns out they didn't sub so well. She let everyone know that because she tried it first. She is selling them. You can use them for HTV or vinyl, but she said up front, these are not good for sublimation. I'm not going to sell them to you for sublimation. I also know Anna and Elena got some glow-in-the-dark ones that work great for sublimation, but they didn't glow in the dark so great. So they're selling those at a cheaper price as testers. So I do know that they test everything. I know that they take great pride in their business and the things that they sell us. So that's number one. Make sure you have good sublimation tumblers. Number two is make sure you're using the right paper and ink for you. Maybe I use A-Sub 105 paper, which is the green. When I started doing tumblers, I had A-Sub 125 paper. I already had that because I used it for some shirts, and I didn't really know the difference in the paper. And after testing some tumblers over and over, realized that the A-Sub 125 was too thick. It wasn't working for me. So I use A-Sub 105. I've tried a couple other papers. I don't like them, so I stay with the A-Sub 105. Once again, that's what works for me. I also have a Sawgrass printer. I was having issues with my reds. It didn't matter what I did, my reds were horrible. They turned out orange, or they were turning out pink. So I got Sawgrass on the line. Luckily, they have good customer support. They got on and changed a couple things with my printer settings. And now my reds print great. So if your colors aren't printing the way you think they should, it's not necessarily the tumbler press. So you have to check your color settings for your printer and your ink. So just some things to consider outside of, oh, it's the tumbler press. And then the last thing that a lot of people are having issues with is the white spots. And I'm just going to be honest, one thing that's driving me crazy is everyone's calling it ghosting. It is not ghosting. Ghosting is when you sublimate something and the sublimation paper moves. So this is ghosting. This is where I had the paper down, I put my heat press up, I put it back down, and the paper moved. So now I've got this little outline here where the paper moved. That's ghosting. So it looks, you know, kind of like a shadow behind there. What some people are getting is the white spots. And the white spots means that your paper is not making good contact with your blank, so it's not adhering to your blank. That's why you're getting the white spots. So I did this one earlier. So while I was doing some, I wanted to jump on. This is Michelle Ray design. It's so cute. And then I did this little Nurse Life one with a name for a customer. So I wanted to jump on to show you pressure. You don't need a lot of pressure. You need it needs to adhere well, but then you also need really good heat. And that's what's going to bond your sublimation ink to your blank. So we're going to do this small bullet. And I'm just going to put it in. I'm going to put the seam down. So we're going to start with the seam down. I'm just putting it kind of in the middle here. We're going to go 40 seconds, and then I'm going to flip it 40 seconds. And as you notice, when I put my tumbler press down, it's not even touching the tumbler. So it's not even touching the tumbler at all. So absolutely no pressure is being put on this bullet tumbler right now. So we have dropped down to 355. It's going to drop down some because my tumbler is cold. Then it's going to go back up and start counting down at 375. It might even go up to 380. I've had it go up to 382. That's okay. So I'm going to let it go up. We're going to wait 40 seconds. I'll come back on and then we're going to turn it. All right, we're about to go off. And I went up to 377. So now we're going to turn it. And I'm just rotating it up. So I had the seam down. Now I'm going to have the seam up. I'm going to let it get below the 375. So if I had flipped it right at 375 or 376, it would just automatically start counting down. So I let mine get back down below the 375, below my printing temp, and then I put it back down. So now we're going to go back up to 375, and we're going to go 40 seconds. Once again, you can see there's absolutely no pressure on this bullet tumbler, and we'll see what it does. All right, we're about to go off. So remember, we had absolutely no pressure on our tumbler. And it's gorgeous. So you don't need a lot of pressure. And that was just my point with showing you this one. So look at my colors. Oh, they're beautiful. So this part of the didn't touch the tumbler at all. And this design I got on Etsy. So I want to show you another one. So this is just a one-sided little design. Oh my gosh. And this is on a 3-in-1. So this one turns blue in the light and then glows in the dark. So I am just going to loosen this up because I don't want a lot of pressure. I personally feel like too much heat and too much pressure is what gives you that tape marks. I have my press marked for different sizes so I know where it is. So once again, hardly any pressure. I'm just going to put my design in the middle there. We're going to go 375, and on this one, we just have to do 40 seconds. Make sure your sides are even. 40 seconds, because we're just doing one side, and we'll come back. Alrighty, so this one's going off. And this was just my one-sided design. That came out beautifully. And these glow-in-the-dark UV changing ones sparkle. They're so pretty. But you notice no tape marks on either side because I didn't use a lot of pressure. I didn't need to. Okay, so then we have one more we're going to do. And this one is a full wrap one. And I use 5 pieces of tape. I know a lot of people just use the 3, but I do put 1 on each side of my seam, just to makes me feel comfortable. So the biggest thing that you want to make sure is that you don't have, if you take your hand and you go around this, that you don't have this big gap. Because wherever you have that gap end up, that's where you're going to get your white spots. So I just make sure that when I'm taping this, I just go put my tape and make sure I don't have a big gap. If for some reason I've got a white spot, I'm going to do the press trick. So Jennifer has done some videos, Anna's done some videos on the press trick, and Anna and Elena have done a ton of videos on tumblers. I think I've done some on the different tumblers. We've got a lot of different videos out there on tumblers. So, but same thing, we're going to go 370 resting, 375 printing, 40 seconds each side. And then this one's got some black and blue. Or actually, it's different blues. I don't think there's any black in it. And then some silver. And this is a design by Emmy Print. So this is just the girl boss building her empire. So I'm at 370. So I put my seam towards this way. I put it in the middle of my 2 bars there. And I have my seam facing this way. And as you can see, hardly any pressure at all. It's already gone down to 352, 351. This one's been sitting out under the fan, so it's cold. It's okay. So we went down to 348. So then it's starting to climb back up. Once it gets to 375, it'll start counting down. And then I'll come back on and we'll turn it. Alrighty, we're about to go off. I'm going to flip it. I'm going to put the opened in on this side now. Once again, putting my tape there. And this is how I kind of keep up with how I know where I've rotated it. So I start with my opened in here, my seam this way. Now I have my closed in here, seam that way. I'm going to let my tumbler press get down past 375. It's at 371. Once again, no pressure, and it's down, it's 369, so it's going to go back up at 375. We're going to do 40 seconds, and then we're going to check it, and if we need to do the ends a little bit longer, then we'll do the ends a little bit longer. So we'll be back. And if you're wondering, do I ever mess up? Yes, I do. That's what these 2 here that are holding my straws are. So this was one, and I messed up. I had a little bit of the white spots down there because I didn't check it before I took it off. So that just shows that my sublimation paper didn't adhere and the ink didn't go into my tumbler. So now I'm using them as straw holders. Alrighty. So now I'm going to do the little trick, and I'm just going to check my ends. See if we have any white spots. And they look really good. Check the bottom. I have to use the tweezers to get started. Okay, and as you can see, I've got a little white spot there, so I don't like that. I'm going to do that again. And that just means that was a little loose, and you can see I had it loose right there. I don't know if you can see that. So I'm just going to do this end again. I'm just going to put the end in between the 2 halfway knobs for about, I go about 20 seconds, so I just want to get that spot right there. Good. So I'm going to put it in. And I'm going to let it go. I'm going to let it heat back up. And I'm going to go about, just about 20 seconds. And then that should take care of that. So we will be right back. Okay, so now it's counting down. So I'm just going to let it go about 20 seconds. Then we're going to take it out and check it. Needed to get a little more time on that spot to get down in there, but that's what causes that, where you don't have good, where the paper isn't touching the tumbler good, and so you don't get, let's check it now and see. Much better. So it looks way better now. And then our top, it looked good. I don't think we need to redo anything with our top. Nope. So just the bottom part, like right there, where I didn't get that bottom tight enough. And so my paper wasn't touching on my tumbler. So this design, like I said, was from Emmy Print. So my top looks great. Didn't need to do that one again at all, because I had it good and tight up there. And my bottom now looks really good, where we just went back and put it in just for a couple more seconds. There's my seam. So I hope this video's helped somebody